Good afternoon, morning, evening, whatever it is for you. Thanks for tuning in. I am going to go over my kind of crash course, quick overview of my whole philosophy and guidance on nutrition. This will be a little intro to the approach I take and what you'll learn with me as my client. Uh, Being in this world today, we're constantly bombarded with different eating rules, diet plans. Everyone has their own opinion. So it can be kind of hard to decide what to listen to, what the right information is. So I just kind of want to clear some of that up and make it simple for you. And um, everyone's different, but these are what I've found to work. Being in the fitness industry for a few years now, and working with a lot of clients, I've learned a lot working with different people, different circumstances. I've done a lot of reading and testing on myself and my clients, and I've just learned that simplicity is key. So I'm going to make it real simple for you. Write it down. Eat real food. Ta-da! That is my main message. Eat real food. As simple as this sounds, it can still be tricky. Over time, we have lost touch with what real food is, and our relationship with food has been totally distorted. Um, so, first off, I want to clear up what the word diet means. When we hear the word diet, a lot of us cringe, think of starvation or hunger pains or calorie counting, restriction, low carb, low sugar, low fat, whatever, um, or lean cuisine. I don't know, all these different diets. But I want you to forget all that. I want to clear those thoughts that you have. And when I refer to diet, I'm simply talking about what we put into our bodies, the food that we put into our bodies, what we eat. That's what I mean by diet. So, along with that, I want you to forget about ideas of calorie counting, fat free diets, gluten free, macro counting, weighing your food, all these different ideas about eating that you may have. And just forget about that. I'm not saying all those things are horrible, I'm just removing the labels that your mind has associated with diet and eating, and just simplifying it with eat real food. So that means that you're knowing what's in your food, trying to keep the ingredient list as low as possible, and making sure you know everything that's on the ingredient list. So, fruits and vegetables, they don't need an ingredient list because that's the ingredient, it's the whole food. And you should be able to pronounce what's on the label. That is a good rule of thumb, because all the other stuff is weird chemicals that probably shouldn't be in our food. So, first off, let's talk about macros or macronutrients. These are proteins, fats, and carbs. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about fats. There's a lot of misconceptions with fats. So there's a little bit of clearing up to do. I am a big advocate for eating fat, but it's the right kind of fat. So fats have had a bad rap for years. They've, especially saturated fats, because they're associated with the bad kinds of saturated fats, but not all saturated fats are created equally. So the food industry had mass amounts of industrial crops, and they decided to make oil out of it, which was a bad idea. Back 50, 60 years ago, these fake oils started to replace natural oils like butter. People were all afraid of butter, trying to use margarine or whatever. These oils became very abundant and cheap, and the companies made a lot of money on them. They put them in everything. So if you look on most labels of processed foods, you will see soybean oil or canola oil or hydrogenated oil. That's bad. Um, these are chemical filled fake oils. So that list again, it's soybean oil, canola oil, peanut oil, corn oil, anything hydrogenated, weird, that's not natural. The oils that we do like are, and fats are, um, grass fed butter. You don't need to fear butter. Uh, Coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil. Um, those are all great. Some other great options for fats are avocados, nuts and seeds, eggs, salmon, all great foods. And a note on eggs, just to clear this up, dietary cholesterol, which is cholesterol in food that we eat, it does not have a correlation with cholesterol levels in our body. So by eating cholesterol, you're not going to raise your cholesterol levels in your body. So eggs, egg yolks, totally fine. They're super healthy for you. Lots of great fats, protein. So just clearing up that little misconception. Um, and so yeah, that's fats. Next up, let's talk about protein. Protein is super important for maintaining and repairing tissues in our body, especially muscle tissue. If you want to keep that or get that lean muscle tone look, proteins are super important. Um, so we want to get proteins from the most natural source we can. So choosing grass-fed beef, and free-range chickens for our meat and eggs, keeping our dairy products as close to the source as we can, and yeah. So, and I know it can be expensive and tricky. I'm not saying you should go buy everything grass-fed and organic right off if you can't afford it. Just do the best you can. I myself am in that same boat, so maybe this week I'll get grass-fed free-range chicken breasts, and then next week I'll get free-range eggs, and just kind of prioritizing so you're doing the best you can, and in the long run, it is cheaper to invest in your health than for paying for these pills and medication down the road. Um, but yeah, just do the best you can. You don't have to go all in, just do what you can. Um, and women should be having around a gram of protein per pound of body weight. And men can be consuming up to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Depending on your goals, this could be reduced a little bit, but that's a good rule of thumb if you're training and looking to increase a little muscle tone, muscle mass. You're not going to get huge, girls, but just to keep that lean muscle mass. And third, let's talk about carbohydrates. There are a ton of misconceptions with carbohydrates. Low carb, high carb, gluten free, whatever. Um, Low or sugar free, just all this stuff. So basically, any carb source in its simplest form in our body is broken down to sugar, and our body uses that for fuel. Um, but not all carbs are created equally, obviously. Um, but so carbohydrates are a great energy source. Our body needs carbohydrates. But where we go wrong is with the amount. Most of us don't need the amount of carbs we consume, and it gets stored as fat in our bodies. Most of us aren't running in the forest hunting our dinner. We're not using biking as our main mode of transportation. Um, Most of us have desk jobs, sitting most of the day, sitting in our cars, sitting at dinner. So we don't need the carb, extra carbs that are so prevalent in our society. So, so we need to get back in tune with what our body needs, um, when we need those extra carb sources and when we don't, and also getting back in tune with our cravings versus hunger. Um, a lot of times, sugar is addictive, so a lot of the times when we're craving um, sugar, it's a craving. It's not a hunger. Our body doesn't need it. So just getting in tune with that. Carbs spike our blood sugar levels, which affect our energy levels throughout the day. So that's why a lot of times if you go to lunch at work and you'll have a sandwich, chips, a soda, um, most people will come back from that and around 2 to 3 p.m. their energy just crashes after that blood sugar level comes down. They're just exhausted, falling asleep at their desk. So, trying to avoid that, we can stabilize those blood sugar levels with proteins and fats in our diet, and choosing more better carb sources. So, and by the way, another note on carbs. They come from lots of sources. Most people think about uh, breads, pastas, crackers, cookies, sugar, but vegetables are carbs and fruits are carbs. So just to clear that up, um, and I don't think we should avoid all grains and breads and sugar altogether. But I just think we need to be more mindful of when our body actually needs those extra carb sources. I know if if I know I'm going to be super active and I'm climbing a mountain, then yeah, I'm going to have a big bowl of oats for breakfast with fruit, and I'll stir some coconut oil in there for a fat source, and I know that energy is going to sustain me, and I know I'm going to use that fuel. But if I'm just going to work and sit at a desk all day, um, I won't have that bread and grains, that extra carb source. I'll stick to more of maybe eggs and avocado or eggs and bacon. So just knowing what your body needs and fueling it the right way. Um, the idea is to shift our mindset and habits from this carb binge, fat fearing state of mind to a more balanced, real food, mindful eating approach, and fueling our bodies for what it needs, using food as a fuel source rather than this horrible thing that makes us fat. Because it's not. Food is fantastic. We all need it. So, how do we make this shift? Our culture and mainstream information sources makes, um, like in our grocery stores, they make carbs so prevalent and convenient, and cheap. What's more convenient than a pack of easy cheese and pretzel sticks and a hot pocket, or a pop tart? It's magic. You just throw it in the microwave and you're good. And it'll probably feel great for about 20 minutes. But so yeah, all that stuff is super convenient and it's cheap. So in order to make this healthy eating a reality, we need to make the healthy options as convenient and second nature as we can in our lives, make it easy for us. First of all, knowing in your mind what a healthy plate looks like, is super handy. You can build a healthy meal wherever you are if you know what it looks like. So I drew up a little example. So, government, my plate recommendations shows this. So there is grains and vegetables the same size, and then you got your fruits and proteins a little bit smaller, and then you have your dairy in your little cup. So two things I see wrong with this. 3 of the 4 sections are carbohydrates, and then there's no section for fat. It's yeah. So I took a big X through that and have created my own perfect plate guide for you to follow. So this is what I recommend. So first of all, we got our vegetables. That should be every meal. Have your vegetables, even breakfast. There's lots of ways to get your veggies in. I always have chopped up veggies in my eggs or on the side, or throwing a big handful of kale or spinach in your smoothie. You can't taste it, but it bulks up your smoothie and gives you those vegetables. And you got your protein, whether that comes from eggs or meat or cottage cheese or quinoa, whatever that is. Have your protein, and then always make room for your fat on your plate. This can be avocado, or it can be your olive oil mixed in with your veggies, or it can be nuts on your salad with the olive oil and the oil that you're cooking your food in, coconut oil, whatever it is, butter on your sweet potato. So that is going to be key to avoiding that hangry stage that most diets lead you to. That fat is going to help you stay satisfied and full and keep your energy up. With adding more fat in your diet throughout the day, you will have energy throughout the day. You won't have that up and down roller coaster. And yeah, and then I put H2O, water, in the cup. Have water at every meal. I always tell my clients that sometimes when we have a craving or we feel hungry, it's oftentimes we're thirsty. A lot of times we're not eating enough water, so always have a water bottle with you. If you feel craving, then drink some water first, and if you still have the craving, then you're probably really hungry. But just being able to differentiate between craving, thirst, hunger, listening to your body. So that is your healthy plate makeup. So you can build this healthy plate in a lot of situations. At the salad bar, get your lettuce topped with lots of veggies, get a protein on there, top it with some nuts and olive oil, salad dressing. My favorite, what I recommend for salad dressing is just do olive oil, balsamic, and salt and pepper, and shake up your salad. You won't miss the sugary salad dressings. It's so easy and it's so good and so good for you. You avoid the crap that's in a lot of salad dressings that can pretty much like ruin your healthy salad that you've made. You don't want to ruin it with crappy dressings. So yeah, just some olive oil and balsamic and salt and pepper. Shake it up. So good. And so yeah, that's an example of what you can do. Also, a burrito bowl at Chipotle. You have your protein, add some guacamole on there, and if you know you're going to be extra active, then add in that tortilla. But most of the time, we don't need that. But if you know you are doing a big bike race or something, have that tortilla, have that extra carb source, but most of the time, leave it out. Um, and another, so besides knowing our how to build our healthy plate, is being prepared. Meal prep is key. All those convenient bad choices, we go to them because they're easily available to us. So meal prep is key to success. So and it doesn't, I don't mean you have to like plan out your whole week and put everything in Tupperwares in your fridge, have it be perfectly measured out. No, just when you're cooking in the kitchen, I always make extra, put it in a Tupperware, put it in the fridge, and I'll have it for breakfast or lunch the next day. Or just take a couple hours the first of the week and make some meat in the crock pot. Just super easy. Throw it in there, put some low sugar or no sugar sauce or seasoning. Just do, yeah, chicken broth, and cook your meat for a few days, and it's so good. And also, with your meal prep, chop up a bunch of veggies. You have them easy access for the week. That's going to be key. Just being prepared with those easy options. Hard boil a bunch of eggs. That's awesome. So super easy. You just boil eggs and have them ready to go. So for breakfast, you can grab 2 hard-boiled eggs and a banana out the door. It doesn't have to be complicated. With those options, you'll be set. It'll be just like you're eating a Hot Pocket, but so much better. So that is my quick overview of nutrition. Just to do a little recap. Remember, eat real foods. Just make it simple. Don't worry about all these little measurements and rules. Just eat real food. You'll know when you're hungry. Listen to your body. I've learned that it's really hard to overeat when you're eating real foods like that because you suppress the craving part of it. You're just eating to fuel your body. And second point, fats are good. Don't be afraid of butter, but stick to natural fats. And avoid chemicals. If you can't say it or know where it came from, then you probably shouldn't eat it. And also just remembering that the makeup of the plate. Vegetables at every meal, protein, fat, water. So yeah, that's the summary. Thanks for watching. That was episode 1 of my nutrition crash course. I plan on doing more, so comment any questions or comments you have, and hopefully I can answer them. And next time I'm going to be talking about sugar and artificial sweeteners and supplements, omega-3 and omega-6s. So check back for that, and yeah, keep up the good work. You guys are awesome.